Tonight, border opening in the balance. New South Wales confirms 3 COVID community transmissions. Now the clock is ticking on whether or not it'll mean another 28-day wait. The hard sell begins, what the biggest budget in living memory means for everyday Queenslanders, the traders, the tradies, the parents and pensioners. Turning copper into gold, the Premier pulls some strings to lure votes as the opposition delivers industrial strength promises. A first look at the man accused of threatening to kill Anastasia Palaszczuk and the Chief Health Officer, his bizarre claims in court. And remembering the man behind some of the biggest anthems of the 80s, Eddie Van Halen loses his battle with cancer.
This is 10 News First Queensland with Sandra Sully.
Good evening. We were so close to a border reopening, but tonight it all hangs in the balance. New South Wales' streak is over, with new cases of community transmission confirmed in the state. Health authorities are now racing to investigate before deciding whether or not to restart the 28-day clock.
After almost a fortnight in the clear, 3 New South Wales cases of community transmission threaten a major border blow.
Make the street so much more quieter because there's not as much foot traffic from people.
I say to the Queensland government, I appreciate you'll probably come out today and say the 28 days is ticking again from the start.
But the hardline stance seems to have softened. The Health Minister not in a hurry to scrap the 12-day streak and jeopardise the November 1st reopening. If the new cases can be linked to existing clusters, the clock keeps ticking.
There's certainly enough reason to be concerned, but we will monitor very closely whether New South Wales can link those cases to existing clusters. We hope they can.
The early indication is the cases aren't linked. Contact tracers now have 48 hours to find a connection to another outbreak, or it's likely the 28-day cycle will be reset. The New South Wales Premier concedes it's a benchmark the state is unlikely to ever meet.
I will put to you that until the end of the pandemic, it's highly unlikely, highly improbable that New South Wales will ever get to 28 days of no community transmission, because that is not how a pandemic works.
We need to have agreed standards for these things, and that's the one we have, and it's the one that we're using. It's the one that's kept Queensland very safe.
Highlighted by the fact we recorded another day with no new cases. Joe Hill for 10 News First.
The day after a budget, it's lights, camera action as the government moves in quickly to sell the spend. It's one that'll put a huge hole into the debt ceiling, a record $966 billion. Network 10's political editor Peter Van Onselen has the details.
The day after the most important budget in a generation, it's time to feed the media.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Have you had any sleep?
Yeah, g'day, kid. Always good to be with you.
No budget pleases everyone.
Where's the Prime Minister? Hello, Mr. Prime Minister.
And the photo ops don't always go according to plan. But the sales pitch did have a clear theme.
Jobs, 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 jobs. There'll be more jobs.
So everyone's asking you about.
And the size of the debt is hard to swallow.
It should only be based on the health. I'm very sorry.
The jobs message reinforced by the Treasurer in his National Press Club address.
This government's first, this government's second, this government's third priority is to get Australians back to work.
Josh Frydenberg's clear priority is to keep the unemployment rate in single digits, bringing it back to pre-COVID levels in the years ahead.
And he wants Australians to know what would have happened if he didn't rack up record amounts of debt to try and save jobs.
Unemployment will rise to 12% this year and next, but for the measures that we've taken in this budget.
Only after the government gets unemployment below 6% will it even consider getting ballooning debt back under control.
You cannot have a budget repair strategy without having a jobs recovery.
The success of the budget is built on
a vaccine to be available around the end of 2021 is one of the assumptions in the budget.
But according to the PM,
the measures in this budget are not dependent on whether there's a vaccine or not next year.
At the heart of the budget is defeating this virus. Donald Trump says we shouldn't be afraid of COVID-19. You once called him a dropkick. What superlative would you use now?
Well, I'm going to leave the commentary on other nations' political systems to you, Peter. You won't see Scott Morrison putting out those sort of messages.
The Treasurer is socially distancing the PM from the President's take on the virus.
Peter joins me now from Parliament House. Peter, how will the government get Australians back into jobs and how long will it take?
Well, it's likely to take a very long time. Even their own bullish forward estimates suggest that. Their mechanism is about incentivising business, and the youth wage subsidy, for example, is a classic example of that. It's got a 12-month life expectancy, and it'll be interesting to see whether that has a material effect on younger workers disproportionately affected by this pandemic. But the questions that Labor asks is, well, if you're going to do that, that's fine, but what about JobKeeper and JobSeeker, where you're reducing the payments? Some of that's already happened. There's no guarantee how long JobKeeper will last into the new year. So those are the questions Labor has. They're legitimate ones. We'll see how the government's response is when we get to the early new year.
Well, we will indeed. Thanks, Peter. As expected, responses to the budget in Queensland have been a mixed bag. The earlier delivery of cash in taxpayers' pockets, well, that's been welcomed. But businesses and employers say they are still extremely challenging times ahead.
The Treasurer promised a budget full of jobs and full of hope. For those who've had a job and therefore have paid taxes, the dragging forward and backdating of tax cuts was like Christmas come early.
Sounds pretty good to me. Always got to love a little bit extra money.
Extra money retailers are praying will be spent, not saved.
For us, Christmas starts middle of November, so this couldn't have happened at a better time for us.
Spending definitely on the cards for some.
I'll be able to buy some more equipment, reinvest into my business and try and stay afloat during these crazy times.
With retailers praying it's the start of a spendemic.
Because if they don't, it is certainly going to be tough times for retailers.
Despite the forecast $1 trillion debt, billions more is being earmarked for job creation, with big incentives for employers to hire. Wage subsidies from the government are there for new employees aged under 35, as well as tax incentives from employers to gear up and grow. That is, if they have the cash in the bank to buy the tools and equipment in the first place.
We know there's some businesses with the instant asset tax write-off. You need cash to pay for the asset. Small business are really cash strapped at the moment.
Also welcomed the boost for more apprentices to be taken on, up to 100,000 places, plus built-in wage subsidies.
Complementing that, we'd like to see a little bit more investment in our TAFE infrastructure because you can give the money to employers, but if we don't have the infrastructure and the right tools and the right equipment to train them on, then we're falling behind there.
Jobs growth via road building hasn't missed out. $2.5 billion in state and federal funding will buy plenty of hot mix. That is, once the Queensland state election is done and dusted.
We call on the state government and those state bureaucrats to be planning now so that we are shovel ready on the 1st of November.
As always, there are those sectors missing out, like small business, loan guarantees, the arts and tourism. And like a voice in the wilderness...
What's in it for self-funded retirees? Very little. Very little. There's not much there.
Tim Collins for 10 News First.
It was a day of supercharged announcements from the state's leaders, with Anastasia Palaszczuk and Deb Frecklington both focusing on power prices on day 2 of the election campaign. The Premier took her fight to Katter country, while the opposition leader quashed claims of public service job cuts. Our state political reporter Claire Barnes is travelling with the Premier.
In the resources capital of the north, pouring her support behind the sector.
That's tough work there.
The Premier mingling with workers at the Mount Isa smelter.
So how long have you been working here for?
25 years.
Yeah, that's great.
Paving the road to recovery with copper.
This is visionary. This is nation building. This comes along once in a generation.
The government backing plans to extend the electricity grid from the northwest to Townsville.
This is groundbreaking.
There was no extra cash today, just an agreement for what is a pet project of key crossbencher Robbie Katter. But the Premier denies she was buttering him up.
This has been something that my government has championed every single step of the way.
It's hoped the new agreement with Copper String will ultimately bring down power prices for industries across the north. But the government couldn't say yet exactly by how much or when.
This is the second day in a row that the Premier of Queensland
has offered Queenslanders nothing new to grow our economy.
The LNP leader spent the morning at a steel manufacturing plant in Brisbane. Deb Frecklington had power on her mind too.
We will reduce manufacturing businesses' electricity costs by 20%.
The scheme will cost almost $500 million and is set to drive down prices for 16,000 Queensland businesses.
How we'll pay for it? Because we'll grow our economy.
Our annual electricity bill is approximately $160,000 a year, so 20% that's in excess of $30,000. So $30,000 straight away we're more competitive.
The opposition leader also hit back at claims the LNP plans to cut the public service.
The Labor Party have also initiated a voluntary redundancy program. I can rule out that, and I can rule out forced redundancies.
But her centrepiece, Big Bruce Highway Plan, may have hit a roadblock. The Treasurer taking aim at the federal budget for shortchanging the LNP's four-lane promise.
What we also saw last night was Deb Frecklington's Bruce Highway Plan turned into a highway hoax.
The Labor Party have got no plan and no vision for the Bruce Highway. That's why they're so upset at the moment.
As both leaders continue to track north, searching for political gold. Let's go to Claire Barnes now. And Claire, the Premier is continuing her blitz across North Queensland. Well, Sandra, the word battleground gets thrown around a lot during election campaigns, but Townsville really is such a crucial region to both sides. There are 3 seats at play here. They're all held by Labor at the moment, but not by that much. The main issues for voters will be Townsville's unemployment rate, but also youth crime. The LNP leader is also headed north. Deb Frecklington is right now on the way to Cairns, which is, of course, a city hit hard by the pandemic. So as expected, both leaders spending plenty of time in sunny North Queensland. Sandra? Thanks, Claire. We have learned today who the Gold Coast man is charged with threatening to kill the Premier and the Chief Health Officer, Dr Jeanette Young. He is claiming not being able to see his son is why he's now before the courts.
On the way in to Southport Magistrates Court this morning, Aaron David Marriage stood patiently in line. A short time later, the 43-year-old was in much more of a hurry.
Did you threaten the Premier? What have you got against Jeanette Young?
Marriage, who describes himself online as an ex-defence wolf trying to make it in civilian life, was the subject of a police raid at his Nerang home on September 16, after it's alleged that the Premier and Chief Health Officer received death threats. That led to a new police detail stepping up security for Dr Jeanette Young.
It has taken an enormous toll on me, but then this has taken an enormous toll on nearly every single person in our community.
That toll, Mr Marriage told the magistrate, had an impact on him. At the end of the day, I haven't seen my kid for a year. That's the whole reason why we are here. During the brief proceeding, Marriage suggested that the evidence against him was inaccurate. Given that he was self-represented, Magistrate Kerry McGee decided to adjourn the matter so that the defendant could seek further legal advice. A few things have been changed with what was actually written, Your Honour, the so-called email. That email is likely to be a key focus in the case. The charge is using a carriage service to make a threat to kill. The matter returns to court on November 4. Chris Campy for 10 News First.
Stay with us after the break. The Porsche driver at the centre of Melbourne's deadly freeway crash faces a new allegation. The lawyer for embattled former Bunny Sam Burgess tries to turn the tables on his estranged wife. No signs or symptoms. The US president comes good as COVID spreads further through the White House. And music legends pay tribute to one of their own as the world says goodbye to a rock icon.
The moment I wake up, these boys have no bloody idea what's coming for them. Before I put on my makeup.
There's 2 of you. Why is it 2?
Say a little prayer for you. We are both the Bachelorettes.
Your sisters?
We're sisters, and we're both bachelorettes.
2 girls.
2 girls.
Looking for 1 guy each.
1 guy each?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was going to say.
The new season of The Bachelorette starts 7:30 tonight on 10.
Half price this week at IGA.
Hey, check this. Powerball has jackpotted to $20 million. Sound good? Grab a ticket today.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
D-Shop has thousands of great deals on furniture, exercise, homewares and more. We deliver great deals Australia-wide with 24/7 customer care. Enter the code TV at checkout for your $10 voucher. It's time to shop and save at dshop.com.au.
First they sued Hungry Jack's, now they want to ban our ad telling you the Big Jack has 25% more Aussie beef than theirs. But we know when you tell an Aussie it's big, it better be big. The Big Jack and the Mega Jack, only at Hungry Jack's.
There's an unspoken promise to care for your pet. At Pet Barn, we'll help you keep it every day with 60-minute click and collect and an instant price match promise. Visit Pet Barn today.
Be your best blonde. Provoke Touch of Silver. Banishes brassy tones in just one wash. Provoke Touch of Silver. Protects, enhances and brightens your blonde. Available at leading retailers.
Waiting up for something special? Look no further, big boy. Try top-toed exotics from Sportsbet. Get the best payout across all 3 tabs. Whether it's a Cornella or a Quaddie, you'll get the biggest return with Sportsbet.
What if you're missing information about meningococcal disease, a rare but potentially deadly and devastating illness, most common in infants and adolescents? Speak to your doctor for more information about meningococcal disease, because missing information could mean missing out on a whole lot more.
When talking about the Newman government, of which she was his assistant minister, Deb Frecklington's exact words were,
I am proud, very proud, of the LNP's record in government.
Which bit was she proud of? The 14,000 Queensland jobs she helped cut, many of whom were frontline health workers, or the record unemployment? Every single time the LNP have been in government in Queensland, they've cut jobs. Is now the time to risk an LNP government?
Authorised J. Campbell, Australian Labor Party, State of Queensland, Brisbane.
It's the fun new series that's perfect family viewing.
Yes! So good!
The critics are saying it's the most heartwarming show on television.
The kind of heart we need right now.
And these kids will blow your mind.
Oh my goodness!
Don't miss the best TV you'll see this year.
Do you dare me to take a giant bite?
Junior MasterChef on 10. It starts 7:30 Sunday.
Tuesday night, taco preparations begin. A dominant female wrestles with a guacamole, whilst her counterpart has found an alternative to beef mince. With grace, they settle into their nest for the evening.
Well, good afternoon. Still some big delays heading north this afternoon. It started off with a crash on the Bruce Highway earlier up around Marumba Downs and still yet to ease on the Gateway. Look at that traffic coming off the Gateway there up over the flyover from about Nudgee, very heavy going, and also the Gympie Arterial Road underneath it. That's slow from around about Kedron up towards the Pine River Bridge. Busy going too at the moment on the Riverside Expressway and the Captain Cook Bridge, and that's the run on Gympie Road heading up through Bald Hills. Very slow going. I'm Dave Andrews. Thanks to Sal Salmon, and I'll be back to check the roads for you a little later in the Bulletin.
Former South star Sam Burgess is a victim of a campaign of propaganda orchestrated by those who were once closest to him. That's according to his lawyer, who was in court today over an ugly domestic dispute involving the ex-Rapidos skipper.
From the hero of the back pages to the centre of the front, even from the sidelines, Sam Burgess is still making headlines. His lawyer, Brian Wrench, said to the court that a series of lurid allegations of drug use and domestic violence are born of malice or retaliation as part of a campaign of orchestrated propaganda by Burgess's ex-wife and former father-in-law. Mr Wrench indicated they could file a motion to find Phoebe Burgess and her dad in contempt of court. While Burgess himself wasn't present here today, his lawyer representing him did tell the court that his client categorically denied the allegations. The legal team was at court over an intimidation charge related to domestic violence. It's alleged Burgess clashed with his ex-father-in-law after he was asked to leave during a visit with his children. He's still the subject of an AVO. His former teammates are steering well clear.
Oh, look, I won't be commenting on anything to do with what's going on outside the playing group, mate. So I'm just here to talk footy and what's going on this weekend.
New South Wales Police and the NRL Integrity Unit have launched separate investigations, while Sam has stood down as coaching assistant with the Rabbitohs. This, the biggest challenge he's ever had to tackle. Alice Hogg for 10 News First.
Police have been accused of overcharging a man they accuse of filming a dying officer. Porsche driver Richard Pusey is already facing at least a dozen charges, and today prosecutors added another. He's now charged with possessing a device which can be used to jam speed guns. It comes on top of at least a dozen other counts, including perverting the course of justice. A magistrate will deliver a ruling on the charges next week. Legendary guitarist Eddie Van Halen has lost his long battle with cancer. Co-founder of Hall of Fame rock band Van Halen, the group sold more than 80 million records worldwide. Eddie was considered one of rock's most innovative musicians, even though he never learned how to read music.
Eddie Van Halen was revered as a guitar god. The co-founder of band Van Halen, famous for stinging solos on his own hits and those of others, including Michael Jackson's Beat It. As if it were a guitar, he took on cancer with both hands. But after a 20-year battle, his son Wolfgang confirmed the sad news, tweeting, "He was the best father I could ever ask for. Every moment I've shared with him on and off the stage was a gift." The tributes then coming in as fast as his famous finger taps. Lenny Kravitz posting, "Heaven will be electric tonight." The band Metallica writing, "We considered him an inspiration, an idol." While Kiss's Gene Simmons says he's heartbroken.
He wasn't just a guitar god to millions of people, but Eddie was a gentle soul.
And from his ex-wife, actress Valerie Bertinelli, 40 years ago, my life changed forever when I met you. You gave me the one true light in my life, our son Wolfgang. Through all your challenging treatments for lung cancer, you kept your gorgeous spirit and that impish grin. Eddie Van Halen was 65. Lachlan Kennedy for 10 News First.
Stay with us after the break. More infections creep into the White House, but the president says he's feeling great. Back at it, Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny appears in a new video months after his poisoning attack. And the conspiracy theory group so radical, Facebook is banning it. But first, here is Josh Holt with a look at today's weather.
Good evening, Sandra. Another cracking day across southeast Queensland. Clear skies and sunshine and temperatures right on average. The same for the city, 27 the top today. And as we take a look at the satellite picture, quite a bit of cloud across the far southwestern areas of Queensland. That is associated with a trough of low pressure, but most of the rainfall has been further southwards across parts of southern New South Wales and Victoria. A little bit of low cloud being pushed onto the Queensland coast thanks to onshore winds, and as a result, we have seen 12 millimetres into the rain gauge at Proserpine Airport. Temperatures today, we hit 31 degrees in Cairns, 29 the top in Townsville. A warm day for Longreach, hitting 35, 32 for Roma and 27 degrees for Bundaberg. For the southeast, as mentioned, right on average for the city, we hit tops of 28 for Logan and Ipswich, 26 out on the Darling Downs for Toowoomba, and the afternoon sea breeze is kicking up for the Golden Sunshine Coast, tops of 26 and 25 degrees there. We do have some very warm weather on the way as we get towards the back end of this week. All the details, 5 to 6.
The moment I wake up, I want to find love next to you.
Yeah.
Before I put on my makeup, it'll be magical. I say a little prayer for you. The new season of The Bachelorette starts 7:30 tonight.
Oh, colour. Love that. And so sparkly. Yeah, I think this year needs a few more sparkles. Hello, little pick-me-up.
Boys. Watch Sky Racing live, anywhere. Now available on Sportsbet.
HCF, Australia's largest not-for-profit health fund, is committed to giving our members the best mental health care.
Hi, Daniel.
It's why we're leading the way with unique mental health programs that ensure you get the right support and treatment, no matter where you are on your mental health journey.
Great session. Let's pick this up again next week. Okay, great.
Being there for you when you need it most. That's uncommon care.
When the great race becomes the grand finale. Watch as we crown the King of the Mountain and our 2020 Supercars champion, the Supercheap Auto Bathurst 1000, October 15 to 18. Watch it live.
Harvey Norman, your destination for internet safety. Our range from Trend Micro helps keep you safe in this connected world. Trend Micro Maximum Security protects your PC, Mac, mobile phones and tablets. Protect against malware, ransomware and identity theft. Secure online banking and shopping, now from just $24. Or secure your home network and smart devices with Trend Micro Home Network Security. Prevent hacking, phishing and viruses. Keep your kids safe online with parental controls. Just $128. Now at Harvey Norman, your technology specialists.
Go!
When you reach for pork roast, who knows where you'll end up? Get some pork on your fork.
At RACQ Bank, we put you before profits. That's why our Mortgage Saver home loan has a low variable rate of 2.77%. For a home lender that puts you first, choose RACQ Bank, where there's more for members.
Happy it's your turn to clean day. I see you've prepared a mess just for the occasion. You've got your laundry sanitizer, mold away, disinfectant, and all for 59% less by switching to these Aldi brands. No, it's not a day your flatmate made up. Or is it? Happy it's your turn to clean day. Just one of 365 days to save at Aldi. Good, different.
Take more control over your hay fever. Prevent symptoms before they even start. Try Nutel Nasal Allergy Spray. Its active ingredient binds to receptors in the nasal cavity, preventing congestion, runny noses and sneezing. Try Nutel Nasal.
This is a magical masterpiece.
This looks like something you would get in a Three Hut restaurant. Unbelievable.
And you've nailed at the age of?
I'm 11. 13. 10.
Like, come on.
Junior MasterChef on 10. It starts 7:30 Sunday.
US President Donald Trump says he's feeling great on his first day back at the White House after returning from hospital. The COVID-19 infected president tweeted up a storm today, with America's top Democrat Nancy Pelosi questioning if the cocktail of drugs he is on could impair his cognitive abilities. Our US correspondent Eamon Ashton Atkinson reports from Washington.
Donald Trump is back in the White House, not seen but certainly heard. Feeling great, he tweeted, before ordering Republicans to stall a stimulus package. A flurry of tweets followed, perhaps because of the restful sleep he had with no symptoms, according to his doctor. Good thing Trump's isolating in the residence and not the West Wing, the site of the spreading infection.
We feel comfortable working here, those of us who are still here.
Which isn't many. Senior advisor Stephen Miller is the 15th official to test positive. The Joint Chiefs are also in quarantine after a general became infected too. After it became clear that there was a major coronavirus outbreak here at the White House, the Centres for Disease Control reached out offering to help run a contact tracing program. The administration declined.
Don't let it dominate you. Don't be afraid of it.
Last night's stunning comments continued to spark fury.
Have some empathy to the people who are suffering and grieving.
While Australian commentator Miranda Devine was in his corner on TV.
I think it's just incredibly selfish of, older people or neurotic people who are timid and afraid.
Even shocking the Fox News host.
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify that they're being
selfish or they're being afraid?
I do.
Joe Biden has had
enough. No more. Wearing a mask is not a political statement. It's a scientific recommendation.
Michelle Obama backed up the former VP.
And we simply cannot trust this president to tell us the truth about anything.
And now the next presidential debate is in doubt.
I think if he still has COVID, we shouldn't have a debate.
Even though the unwell president is looking forward to it. So tomorrow the attention will shift from Donald Trump to his Deputy Vice President Mike Pence as he prepares to take on his Democratic rival Kamala Harris in the first vice presidential debate. Now the stage has been set today and there were going to be some extra safety precautions put in place, including erecting a Perspex shield between the two candidates. Tonight, however, we're learning that Pence's team has asked that they don't do this, at least on his side. Sandra?
Thank you, Eamon. New York City officials have vowed to crush COVID-19 after a resurgence in some communities. Schools have already been closed in several suburbs and dozens of non-essential businesses have been ordered to shut their doors. The biggest impact has been on predominantly Orthodox Jewish communities where the virus has been especially rampant, with one neighbourhood reporting an 8% infection rate. Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has made his first video appearance since his poisoning 2 months ago. Speaking to a Russian blogger, he said he was feeling much better. Navalny's blood has been tested and the results confirm he was poisoned with the banned Soviet-era nerve agent Novichok. Kazakhstan's president has agreed to hand over power after opposition demonstrators stormed parliament for a second time. They also occupied the debating chamber and declared they had seized power of the country. A jailed former leader of the opposition has been declared Prime Minister. Hurricane Delta is intensifying as it roars across the Cayman Islands and Jamaica, rapidly growing to a Category 4. Delta is on course to slam into Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula later tonight, with wind speeds of almost 250 k's an hour. A storm surge of up to 3 metres is also predicted. Facebook has banned pages and groups from its social media sites that openly support a now notorious conspiracy theory. QAnon has been labelled a potential source of domestic terrorism by the FBI. But despite that, several Republicans have voiced support for the group and Donald Trump has called it patriotic. The debunked theory bizarrely claims the president, Donald Trump, is a secret warrior against a supposed child trafficking ring run by the deep state, Democrats and Hollywood celebrities. Well, stay with us. After the break, the government unveiled a business-focused budget. So, how are owners and investors reacting? And the Melbourne Cup takes a trip down memory lane on its national tour.
The moment I wake up,
my name's Joe and I'm 25 years old.
before I put on my makeup.
No.
There's double the surprises.
There's a small world.
On the new season of The Bachelorette, 7:30 tonight.
Have you tried the apple cider vinegar diet? Now you can with Nature's Way and their lifestyle plan. Feel fit and look fabulous this summer with Nature's Way apple cider tabs.
My way is Nature's Way.
Starbucks coffee is coming home. Full range now available in select supermarkets and online.
When life hands you lemons, hand them back and demand mangoes. Sweet, juicy, mangoes. 100% Aussie Kensington Pride mangoes now available. Aldi. Good. Different.
There's an unspoken promise to care for your pet. At Pet Barn, we'll help you keep it every day. With same-day delivery and an instant price match promise. Visit Pet Barn today.
New Rainbow Bursties make Hungry Jack's frozen drinks more fun with bursting bubbles of triple bursty flavour sensation. Or add Rainbow Bursties to new bubblegum frozens. Get more flavour and fun with Rainbow Bursties, only at Hungry Jack's.
Hey mate, have you seen the Sportsbet app now has Sky Racing?
Really?
Yep. Live racing from all around Australia right there on your phone.
Oh, I'm liking this.
Yeah, just one tap and you're streaming from Randwick, Caulfield, Ascot, Dapto Dogs.
Righto, mate, I get it. What are you, the sports bet guy now or something?
I actually do a pretty good impression.
This is new. Sky Racing, now available on the Sportsbet app.
Bloody hell, that's pretty good.
I told you.
Osteoporosis is more common than breast and cervical cancer combined.
Weak bones mean a fall could cause a break.
You may lose your mobility. Osteoporosis can be treated.
You already get pap smears and mammograms.
Ask your doctor about a bone density scan.
Your doctor wants to hear from you, so ask about a bone density scan today and say no to the big O.
Hey, want a lift? We can take the boats.
That's all right. Mum's just had her SUV service.
Mum's just had a cap price service.
Mum's got roadside assist, though.
Oh yeah, Mum says lifetime roadside assist.
Mum's got a bit more muscle, so...
Can your mum pull 3.5 tonnes, Simon?
Oh, hi, Mrs. Andrews. Oh, nice rig, Mrs. Andrews.
Want a lift?
Yeah. I'm in. I'm in.
Come on, muscles.
As Queenslanders, we know our weather can be unpredictable. With RACQ Home and Contents Insurance, know you're covered, whatever comes our way, from storms, floods, fire and hail. Buy online and save.
If you've been injured and can't work, your normal life and income can suddenly stop. Check if you have an insurance claim through your super online in minutes, so you can start again. With Slater and Gordon, tomorrow starts today.
What will they say about TV's biggest shows?
Yes!
Wait, what?
This is an absolute fantasy.
New Gogglebox Thursday.
Hello again. Well, still some big delays on the Gateway northbound from Boondall up towards the Bruce Highway. The Bruce itself a little bit slow over the Pine River Bridge, but the run on Gympie Road still fairly heavy from Kedron up towards there as well. Got some busy conditions here on the Pacific Motorway. It's not too bad, just a little slow out through Greenslopes. The run on the Gateway a little bit slow coming down through Mackenzie. The run on the M1 here very slow going up through Underwood up towards that Gateway exit, and the run on the Centenary Highway you'll find that a little bit slow through Mount Ommaney. Not a bad run out of the city at the moment. I'm Dave Andrews. Thanks to Sell Salmon. Have a great night, and I'll be back to check the roads again for you tomorrow.
Tonight's top stories. Queensland's border reopening hangs in the balance as New South Wales records 3 new cases of community transmission. Power prices for industry and business dominate day 2 of the election campaign, and the state leaders tapped into Queensland's resources to lure votes. Plus, the federal government moves quickly to sell its big spend, but it all comes with an even bigger price tag, with debt to reach nearly $1 trillion in 3 years. Well, despite the forecast debt, there are plenty of people smiling tonight, including businesses, tradies and first home buyers. But community groups say our most disadvantaged and vulnerable are being left behind.
There were no post-budget blues at this breakfast table. Instead, renewed optimism, bolstered by investment.
It's not about capitalism, it's not about money, it's about stimulating jobs and giving people purpose to live.
But not everyone is thrilled with the tax breaks, even if they are one of the lucky ones.
You know, trickle-down economics has been disproven, so it's just crazy. These guys are last century.
I think it's a good budget overall.
There's been high praise for the job seeker supplement, but that's morphed into bitter disappointment, with a permanent increase nowhere to be seen.
It was life-changing for me. I was able to pay for some dental work. I was able to get things like pay for a haircut. Please don't underestimate the spending power of people that need to cover basics.
There's also no indication on whether JobKeeper will be further extended.
I don't think necessarily it needs to wind up. I just think it needs to be more specific to the needs of the more sort of vulnerable people in society.
Social housing missed out.
We've got social housing projects that are shovel-ready, ready to go.
Which would also be good news for tradies. The government is going to pay half the wages of 100,000 new apprentices and trainees, but there's not too much in the budget for older Australians who are looking for work.
What we are disappointed in is not a revamped and beefed up subsidies for mature age.
Changes to paid parental leave mean thousands of new mums and dads will now qualify, but
we don't have anything in this budget about childcare, and that's deeply problematic given that we've just had a very, very graphic demonstration of how critical childcare is.
The National Disability Insurance Scheme is getting a $4 billion top-up.
We also welcome the support around young people to get into trade, particularly around building new supported accommodation.
Which, for thousands of people, is invaluable. Tegan George for 10 News First.
A former world champion surfer has had a close encounter with a shark near Ballina. Drone vision shows Matt Wilkinson paddling along while the animal circles his board. Then, without warning, it surfaced behind him at speed before pulling out and launching that attack. The amazing vision captured by Surf Lifesaving New South Wales drone, the operator warning him over its speaker. Wilkinson said the lifeguard showed me the footage and I realised how close it came without knowing it was there. It looked like it was going for my leg and then changed its mind. A country town is hoping a win in this year's Melbourne Cup will help honour one of its most famous sons. At 15, Birchip's stable hand Ray Neville became the youngest jockey to win the great race, a feat unlikely to be ever repeated.
3.5 hours drive from Melbourne in the heart of the Mallee is Birchip, home to one of our greatest sporting fairy tales.
There'll never be another jockey, 15-year-old jockey, ride the winner of the Melbourne Cup.
Birchip teenager Ray Neville was an apprentice jockey when on the morning of the Cup he found out he'd landed the mount on 80-1 long shot Rimfire. His only surviving relative in Birchip, sister Alvilda, says Neville had only saddled up in 8 other races.
Did you have any idea that Ray was even at the Melbourne Cup that day?
No one up here knew and no one in Melbourne because it was a last-minute thing.
The 1948 Melbourne Cup was the first decided by a photo finish, the margin a nose.
Well, word just spread out through the town and it was just incredible.
Soon after, Neville grew too big to be a jockey and moved home to Western Victoria. He died 12 years ago after battling cancer. Now, 72 years on from his famous victory, locals are campaigning to honour him with a mural on the town's grain silos.
What will it mean to have Ray's face up on the silos?
This is the first time that there's been a made a fuss of him and he would have lapped that up.
Birchip is one of this year's Cup sweep towns, where 24 locations are given a horse in next month's race, and whoever's runner is first past the post will take home $50,000. Birchip's residents are hoping to use their winnings to bring the artwork to life.
There'll be so many different types of people come, and it'll be a great asset for the community.
The boy from Birchip toasted his victory with a glass of lemonade, and you'd imagine that'll be the drink of choice for these Mallee youngsters, should they have cause to celebrate on the first Tuesday in November.
Go Birchip!
Annie Kearney for 10 News First.
Indeed. Let's get to the news in sport now with Ros Kelly. And Ros, well, there wasn't much to celebrate at the Broncos' end-of-season function today.
Sandra, the Broncos chairman Carl Morris went as far as apologising to fans. More details next. Also, Australia's cricketers come out swinging on an historic afternoon against the Kiwis in Brizzy. And bleeding for the cause at Roland Garros, the 12th seed goes blow for blow with the US Open champion in a gruelling 5-hour battle.
Tuesday night, taco preparations begin. A dominant female wrestles with the guacamole, whilst her counterpart has found an alternative to beef mince. With grace, they settle into their nest for the evening.
Can this budget change the future of young Aussies from bleak to bright? Next.
The moment I wake up,
I'm quite nervous. I can't wait to meet the love of my life.
before I put on my makeup.
I'm Fraser.
Ooh, Fraser. He is gorgeous.
I think there were some sparks flying.
The new season of The Bachelorette starts 7:30 tonight.
What if you're missing information about meningococcal disease, a rare but potentially deadly and devastating illness, most common in infants and adolescents? Speak to your doctor for more information about meningococcal disease, because missing information could mean missing out on a whole lot more.
All right, let's see what it's got. Comfort, bucket loads. Now for some punishment. It's tough, really tough. But smart. Capable, you could say that. Just one more thing. Your turn. Brand new Mazda BT50, the complete package.
At Chewist Blinds Online, we make it simple to choose the perfect made-to-measure blinds, shutters and curtains. Our prices are always low and there's a huge range to suit every home and every budget. It's easy to measure and fit yourself with our simple online guides. With a 5-year guarantee on everything, free samples and speedy delivery, visit Chewist Blinds Online today. Chewist Blinds Online. Made to measure. Made simple.
Whether it's care for farmers, for the ecosystem, or for the future, doing the right thing matters. Those who care most about exceptional coffee know exceptional coffee comes from care. Nespresso. What else?
Oh, should I? With great flavour and 50% less fat, it's easy to say, oh yes. Go on. Say yes to new Smith's Oven Baked.
Make a day with the footy finals. For every NRL finals game, place a same-game multi with 3 or more legs, and if one leg fails, get a bonus bet back up to $50. Tab. Long may we play.
Gamble responsibly.
The Queensland Government is investing in our teachers and our schools. And building more world-class facilities every year. Because our kids and their education are our future. And when you become a teacher in Queensland, you're not only choosing a profession that has plenty of career opportunities, you're also choosing a great starting salary. There's never been a better time to make a difference. There's never been a better time to teach in Queensland. Search Teach Queensland. Authorised by the Queensland Government, Brisbane.
Look, beautiful, aren't they? They're migrating to Aldi.
They get their fresh stuff from the same place as other supermarkets.
Barbados.
No, son. Australia.
Aussie fruit, veg and meat at Aldi prices. That's good different.
The Palaszczuk Labor government has protected Queensland lives and put us on the road to economic recovery. The last thing Queensland can afford right now is a detour deb.
Authorised J Campbell, Australian Labor Party, State of Queensland, Brisbane.
This looks like something in a 3 Heart restaurant. How old are you?
10.
Junior MasterChef starts 7:30 Sunday on 10.
Broncos chairman Carl Morris has apologised for the club's shocking season and attempted to take responsibility for the wooden spoon. It comes as the players declare they're up to the challenge of turning things around under Kevy Walters.
As the Broncos awards night shifted to daylight hours, their chairman finally acknowledged the shadows hanging over the club.
It was not our greatest year, both on and off the field. And as chairman, I take total responsibility and I apologise.
That's little comfort for fans now, but Morris was selling a message for the future.
We have made some serious and painful changes and there are more to come. We all have to get on the bus or we'll be left behind.
Kevin Walters is now at the wheel, the players preparing for a roster overhaul.
I know Kevy's going to have high expectations and we have to live up to it.
We're not going back to where we've just come from, and if hard work is the only way through it, then I know there's going to be 36 blokes or however many come in signing up for hard work every day of the week.
That's the kind of attitude which has Pat Carrigan in the frame for Maroon's debut, named the Broncos Player of the Year alongside Blue Payne Haas just hours before being picked in Queensland's initial Origin squad. Kalen Ponga's on the list with tomorrow's date with the surgeon to determine his eligibility, while Titan AJ Brimson, Xavier Coates and Carrigan are among 9 potential debutants.
I grew up as a proud Brizzy kid and a Queensland kid, and you know, always supported those teams, so it would mean everything.
Gives it his all, and yeah, I reckon he's ready for Origin. He's Origin made.
Kotoni Staggs had to put his Blues ambitions on ice due to have knee surgery next week. He's aiming to return for round 13 next season. Veronica Eggleton for 10 News First.
The Lions have revealed their secret to success this year, and it's straight out of the All Blacks playbook. They've been using techniques developed by the Kiwis Mind Coach, which is based around a colour system to indicate players' emotions, and it's been working wonders for the Lions.
We spoke about guys being a little bit too redhead, if you like, so a bit too emotional the way they play, but for me I actually have to be a little bit more redhead than blue, which is more your calm.
And departing Essendon forward Joe Danaher has nominated Brisbane as his club of choice for next season. The Australian women's cricket team has equalled a world record that stood for 17 years. The Aussies thrashing New Zealand in the third one-day international this afternoon to go level with Ricky Ponting's 2003 team with 21 straight wins.
A moment 1.5 years in the making, and it couldn't have been more convincing.
New Zealand are bundled out for 93, and this extraordinary women's team get 21 wins in succession.
Yeah, it's a really special effort, especially over a long period of time, and we've played some incredible teams along the way as well.
Coming off her series-winning century, regular captain Meg Lanning was a late out with a hamstring strain. Rachel Haynes picked up the slack.
Not a lot of automatic respect for off-spinners amongst a few Australian batters.
The Aussies weren't as convincing at times. Lucky for them, the Kiwis were having plenty of problems in the field.
And falls safely. No one got a hand on it.
Alyssa Healy chancing her arm on the way to a brisk 87 from as many balls as Haynes fast approached her second ODI century.
And hits it over the rope. Can she do it in this over? There's a big shout and gone! I see it, but I don't believe it.
It did little to stem the flow as they notched the third highest women's ODI score in Australia.
Can she get it over the rope? Yes, she can. The perfect finish.
It was always going to be a hard chase. Fern's skipper Sophie Devine made the task even harder.
Gone! A hammer blow for the Kiwis.
New Zealand crumbling on a well-worn wicket as the party at Allan Border Field began.
Where's Katy Perry? Oh, we've got Elise.
21 straight wins equalled, but they'll have to wait until 2021 for the chance to claim it outright. Josh McLean for 10 News First.
Marnus Labuschagne says the Sheffield Shield will be a great tune-up ahead of a big summer of cricket against India. Having become one of the world's top run scorers, the fidgety right-hander is already plotting how to take down the third-ranked side.
But it's sort of turning over in the background, you know, what you might do, what plans they might have for you. But yeah, definitely there's some thoughts subconsciously just about how you're going to play against their players.
Labuschagne will have 4 Shield rounds to blow off the cobwebs before the first test in Adelaide, which is expected to start December 17. Rafael Nadal is through to the French Open semi-finals for the 13th time after a straight sets victory over Italian teenager Yannick Sinner. The match finishing at 1:30 a.m.
Back on track there. Trademark Nadal.
US Open champion Dominic Thiem lost a 5-set, 5-hour marathon to 12th seed Diego Schwartzman, while in the women's unseeded Nadia Podoroska stunned 3rd seed Elina Svitolina in the quarters. NBA superstar LeBron James is just one win away from a 4th title. The King and his LA Lakers ruling the Miami Heat in Game 4 of their series with a 102-96 win.
Jimmy Butler has no fear of the big dance, and whatever he's doing, it seemed to be working.
It's just a continuation of Game 3.
It looked ominous for the Lakers until King James bounced back.
James drives, goes inside and throws it down.
While his teammates got a sideline cuddle, LeBron fought for 28 tough points. Bam Adebayo returned with some Miami muscle of his own. The youngest starter in NBA Finals history, Tyler Hero, kept the Heat within reach.
Outstanding.
The big man with one brow left with one eye before responding when it mattered most.
For 3. Bang! Anthony Davis from downtown. And the Lakers take a 9-point
Anthony Davis doing it at both ends to ice the game. The only thing tougher, remembering these handshakes.
I'm going to continue to get the work in. I'm going to continue to not sleep until the job is done, so look forward to the next match.
The Lakers now lead 3-1, but Miami aren't without hope.
But our confidence ain't going nowhere. It's going to stay high. I'm going to make sure that it stays high because it's going to have to be at an all-time high to get this next win.
LeBron and his Lakers with the chance to clinch the championship this weekend. Bo Pearson for 10 News First.
And the rest of the day's sports news is coming up just after 6, including a big blow to the Panthers' premiership hopes. Sandra?
See you then. Thanks, Roz. Well, temperatures are set to soar across the southeast. Josh is back with all the details. Up next.
Has social media become a supermarket for digital drug deals?
I say a little prayer for you.
Hello, hello.
I'm Ellie.
Sam, two of you here.
Yeah, we're both bachelorettes.
Both of you?
Yeah.
Oh, this is incredible.
Together.
I really like Sam. I just can't stop smiling.
The new season of The Bachelorette starts 7:30 tonight.
At Care Super, we understand it takes hard work to outperform. For us, it's about adapting to deliver superior performance. That's how we've consistently outperformed other super funds over the long term.
Hey, check this. Powerball has jackpotted to $20 million. Sound good? Grab a ticket today.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
It's tough out there, Australia. Every cent counts. Make sure your insurance is about where you're at right now. You could save lots. Yui, you insured. It's car and home insurance for individuals like you.
Have a happy Bathurst day at home with Super Cheap Auto. Get 40 to 50% off these engine oils. Plus, spend $50 on participating brands and receive a free retro tin sign. T's and C's apply.
I'd like a bar of chocolate, please.
Your change.
Happy birthday, Mum.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Happy it's your turn to clean day. I see you've prepared a mess just for the occasion. You've got your laundry sanitizer, mold away, disinfectant, and all for 59% less by switching to these Aldi brands. No, it's not a day your flatmate made up. Or is it? Happy it's your turn to clean day. Just one of 365 days to save at Aldi. Good, different.
Definitely makes sound. So it's between that one and this one. Signed by the band. And they present it to you.
Make the choice easy. Get 5 years cap price servicing and a 3.9% comparison rate across the Corolla range. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
The all-new Hisense Black Steel 6-star fridge with Australia's highest Energy Star rating. Black is the new green. Hisense. How good?
When you don't want to leave your car, choose Domino's new car park delivery for no extra charge. Try it today and get 50% off premium or traditional pizzas. Bring it in.
And they're racing.
In a year like no other, we're taking the cup to you with coverage from across the country to see how we're all celebrating Australia's big event. Everybody has a ticket
They're on top of the world.
to the Melbourne Cup Carnival, live on 10.
Good evening. Spring temperatures set to soar across southeast Queensland as we get through the back end of this week. Today we hit a very comfortable 27, which is actually right on average for this time of year. And a short time ago in the city was sitting on 24 degrees. Overnight temperatures not too bad at the moment, 16 in the city first thing this morning. But here is our cloud band extending from the northern parts of Australia all the way through southwestern Queensland into New South Wales and Victoria. Quite a complex low pressure system starting to intensify a little bit further south over New South South Wales. As that happens, we'll see plenty of rainfall, showers, thunderstorms, even damaging winds as we get through Thursday. But in contrast, Queensland remaining calm. We do have some low cloud. That's that grey murky image you can see on the satellite, just clipping parts of the Central Coast and wet Sundays. Proserpine Airport picking up 12 millimetres since 9 o'clock this morning. Now, here's our main weather feature over the next couple of days. It comes in the form of an elongated area of low pressure, better known as a trough. It's slowly moving in an easterly fashion currently, but it will start to weaken as it moves east. So not really providing anything in terms of rainfall. However, what it will do, it'll drive up those temperatures, especially for the southeast, because as these systems move in an easterly fashion, the northwesterly or northerly winds in ahead of it begin to strengthen, dragging down that warm air from inland and central Queensland and pushing it across the southeast, with those temperatures expected to spike on Friday, which we'll look at that in just a moment. For the southwestern areas of Queensland tomorrow, slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm. Very light falls expected. The atmosphere a little bit dry at the moment. We've still got those very light onshore winds, and there is a slight chance we could see a shower along the eastern fringe tomorrow, in particular around areas of the central and northeast coast, but not expecting too much into the gauges on Thursday. Sydney looking wet tomorrow. Showers, thunderstorms, possible severe weather. 19 degrees with rain developing for Melbourne. Showers persisting in Adelaide with a top of 17 degrees. Bit of rain for Hobart as well, hitting 16. 22 the top for Perth. Chance of a shower tomorrow, and the showers and thunderstorms across the western top end. For Cairns, we're looking at 29 tomorrow, hitting the same mark in Townsville. 28 the top in Mackay, and a warm one for Longreach, hitting 34 tomorrow. 32 for Roma, partly cloudy. We're looking at a dry day for Bundaberg and Maryborough. Gympie hitting a steamy 30 degrees, along with Rockhampton tomorrow. Into the southeast we roll. Partly cloudy skies for Thursday. 28 the top for Toowoomba, 27 for Logan, and 28 for Caboolture. A little bit cooler for our coastal areas. No surprises there. The Sunshine Coast going for 25, and we're headed towards 26 degrees at the Gold Coast. Out on the bay, north to northeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, so a little bit stronger than what we did see today. The sea's still below 1 metre, so still nice if you do fancy wetting a line for Thursday. Sea surface temperatures at 22 degrees. 28 the top for the air temperature in Brisbane tomorrow. That's actually one above average for this time of year, and a pretty easy forecast for the weatherman this week. In fact, from Thursday all the way through to Wednesday next week, the pre-seas each and every day is partly cloudy, so I don't have to remember anything. But the temperature's getting up on Friday, tops of 31 degrees. We're hitting 31 Thursday and 34 degrees on Friday for Ipswich. So that's when those temperatures spike. Still quite warm over the weekend. 32 Saturday, 31 on Sunday, and remaining partly cloudy Monday through to Wednesday next week. The extended forecast of the Gold and Sunshine Coast coming up shortly.
Tonight's top stories: Queensland's border opening in the balance as New South Wales confirms 3 COVID community transmissions. Turning copper into gold, the Premier pulls some strings to lure votes as the opposition delivers industrial strength promises. And the big spend of a big budget with an even bigger price tag, but the federal government is quick to add it could have been much worse. Well, as we go to air tonight, there is a race against time to find the source of 3 new cases of community transmission in New South Wales. The positive results threaten to tear apart plans for the Queensland border to reopen. Joe Hill joins us now with the latest details. Joe, what's the likelihood of the November reopening going ahead?
Well, Sandra, the Health Minister's putting on a brave face, but you'd have to admit that things aren't looking great for the borders at the moment. Contact tracers have less than 48 hours to find a link between each of those new cases and an existing cluster in New South Wales. Now, if they can find that link, the 28-day counter continues its business as usual, and November 1st is still on the cards as the reopening date. If they can't find that link, though, it's likely the tally will be reset and the reopening delayed once again. And the New South Wales Premier, for her part, she seemed to concede defeat this morning, saying that it didn't appear as though the cases were linked, and she was actually expecting the Queensland government would announce that the 28 days needed to be reset. Stephen Miles, though, for his part, says that he is hoping contact tracers can keep that 12-day streak alive.
I really hope that they can. If they can, then that won't have any effect on our timeline. So as far as we know for now, we are still on track for that review towards the end of the month and a potential reopening on the 1st of November.
So, Sandra, a very nervous couple of days ahead. We should know by Friday at the latest what this means for the borders.
Fingers crossed. Thanks, Joe. Queensland's leaders are both in the north tonight after a day of spruiking industrial jobs and slashing power prices for business. The second day of the election campaign delivering plenty of high vis and promises to match.
The Premier in enemy territory, meeting miners in the state's safest seat. Traeger is Katter country, held by a whopping margin of 28.5%.
How hot is it again? Sorry.
About 1,200 degrees. A Labor win here would be an election miracle. Anastasia Palaszczuk's visit working to shore up the support of key crossbencher Robbie Katter.
It hasn't gone unnoticed that yesterday was the first day of their campaign trail and they picked Mount Isa as their first port of call.
Labor backing the next stage of the Copper String 2.0 project, an 1,100-kilometre high voltage transmission line that will connect the northwest to Townsville.
This has been something that my government has championed every single step of the way. This is visionary. This is nation building. This comes along once in a generation. This is groundbreaking.
Deb Brecklington spent the day unveiling another new plan she too describes as groundbreaking, a scheme to drive down power prices for 16,000 businesses.
Well, that just means more manufacturing jobs. This is about securing the 163,000 Queenslanders right now who work in manufacturing.
Creating 20,000 more jobs over 4 years and encouraging more businesses to set up shop.
Our annual electricity bill is approximately $160,000 a year, so 20% that's in excess of $30,000. So $30,000 straight away we're more competitive.
The scheme will cost around $500 million.
How we'll pay for it? Because we'll grow our economy.
The number of frontline workers will also grow under the LNP, according to the opposition leader, fending off claims from Labor she plans to not replace public servants that retire or resign.
We will be ruling out any forced redundancies.
As for Deb Brecklington's ambitious Bruce Highway overhaul, she insists it hasn't hit a dead end, even though the federal government committed just $20 million to the project in the budget.
What we also saw last night was Deb Brecklington's Bruce Highway plan turned into a highway hoax.
The Labor Party have got no plan and no vision for the Bruce Highway. That's why they're so upset at the moment.
The campaign is about to heat up even more, with the LNP leader touching down in the far north tonight, embarking on a regional roadshow to secure key seats. John Paul Gonzo for 10 News First.
The day after a budget, it's lights, camera action as the government moves in quickly to sell the spend. And all that spending leaves us in an historic amount of debt. More than $700 billion next year and up to nearly $1 trillion in 3 years. But this is a situation without precedent and it does require a response to match.
In the throes of a global crisis, the government has put forward its plan to drag Australia out of the first recession in almost 30 years. But it'll come at a cost. A deficit of $213.7 billion in this financial year alone, and an accumulated deficit of $480.5 billion over 4 years. It's in this time frame the national net debt will hit $966 billion.
In gross debt, it's $1.7 trillion.
The money will be thrown into job creation. A new subsidy, the Job Maker Credit, will give businesses $200 a week if they hire a job seeker under 30 and $100 a week if the hire is between 30 and 35 years of age.
Nearly 1 million Australians on job seeker over the age of 35 are ineligible for the government's hiring credit announcement. Why has the government blown out Liberal debt to $1 trillion during this Morrison recession, while still leaving so many Australians behind?
I never thought I'd see the day when the Labor Party was attacking a program which was designed to get young people from job seeker into work, Mr Speaker.
To no one's surprise, Stage 2 personal income tax cuts will be brought forward and backdated to July. Australians earning between $50,000 and $90,000 a year will get just over $20 extra a week and $1,080 at the end of the financial year. Those on an annual income of $120,000 and more will get roughly $50 extra.
More than 11.5 million Australians will get further tax relief.
We fully support that bring forward.
The government hopes tax relief will be made available as early as this month. A further 160,000 Australians will be out of work and in the unemployment queue by the end of this year. But everyone will have access to extra mental health support in this budget. Stella Todorovic for 10 News First.
A man at the centre of death threats against the Premier and the Chief Health Officer has revealed what's contributed to the charges against him. As Chris Campy reports, the father made a very brief first appearance in more ways than one.
Aaron David Marriage describes himself online as an ex-defence wolf trying to make it work in civilian life. Today, he was defending himself here at the Southport Magistrates Court. Now, the 43-year-old fled quickly after the matter was briefly mentioned, running from the cameras out front. His Nerang home was raided in September after police launched an investigation into alleged threats on the lives of Queensland's Premier and Chief Health Officer. Representing himself, Marriage is charged with using a carriage service to make threats to kill. But addressing Magistrate Kerry McGee today, he claimed the correspondence likely to be used as key evidence was inaccurate. A few things have been changed with what was actually written, Your Honour, the so-called email. He argued the toll taken on him by border closures and not being able to see his son was a factor in the charges now against him. At the end of the day, I haven't seen my kid for a year. That's the whole reason why we are here. The magistrate chose to adjourn the case to allow the defendant more time to seek further legal advice. It will return on November 4th.
Lawyers for a mother who admitted to the manslaughter of her little boy have pointed the finger squarely at her former partner. In a bruising encounter, Matthew Scown was accused of delivering the blows that led to the death of 4-year-old Tyrell Cobb.
He walked out of prison in 2017 smiling, having served less than 3 years for manslaughter. But today, Heidi Strabach's lawyer launched a scathing attack on Matthew Scown, accusing him of causing the bruises that covered Tyrell Cobb's body. The reason why this boy had unexplained injuries within that 6-day period after you moved in is because you caused them. No, not at all. And that's because you have a very serious anger problem. No, not at all. Scown's infamous departure from court was short-lived. He was back behind bars in October last year after breaching his suspended sentence. Released on parole in January, he failed a drug test in May and was again taken into custody. His laundry list of criminal behaviour laid bare in court includes fraud, dangerous driving, possession of a gun and assault occasioning bodily harm. Scown claimed he was only violent towards Tyrell on one occasion, when he gave the little boy a kick up the backside after he urinated on the floor. He said he gave evidence against his former partner in exchange for a reduced sentence in 2017 because he wanted the truth to come out. Scown told the court he saw Strabach slap Tyrell across the ribs and face the weekend the little boy died. After his death, she said to him, "I'm going to get charged with neglect." More than a decade on, Strabach maintains she didn't inflict the fatal blow. Samantha Butler for 10 News First.
Stay with us. Up next, the world loses one of its rock icons. Eddie Van Halen loses his battle with cancer. A final lap of honour for a fallen cricket great. And in sport, Mikey Wright puts on a show on finals day at South Stradbroke.
Would you pay to visit one of our most famous beaches? We discuss that tonight. Plus, 2 leading ladies head into the Batchy Mansion, but not before we get the goss.
New Rainbow Bursties make Hungry Jack's frozen drinks more fun with bursting bubbles of triple bursty flavour sensation. Or add Rainbow Bursties to new bubblegum frozens. Get more flavour and fun with Rainbow Bursties, only at Hungry Jack's.
What on earth is all this yuck? Choose a dishwashing liquid made with plants, not petrochemicals. Make an earth choice.
Happy it's your turn to clean day. I see you've prepared a mess just for the occasion. You've got your laundry sanitizer, mold away, disinfectant, and all for 59% less by switching to these Aldi brands. No, it's not a day your flatmate made up. Or is it? Happy it's your turn to clean day. Just one of 365 days to save at Aldi. Good, different.
Have a happy Bathurst day at home with Super Cheap Auto. Get a Bathurst winning design tool cabinet combo, $379 each. And 2 sets of Bendix disc brake pads, $85.99. Catalogue sale on now.
Red Rock Deli. Discover a world of deliciousness.
I did more than lose 30 kilos on the OptiFast program. I've got my health and confidence back too.
With the OptiFast program, you can replace 3, 2 or 1 meals a day, depending on how quickly you want to lose weight. Find your plan.
Collect your story of memorable firsts at Pandora.
Flavor you can touch. Flavor is a must. Flavor just for me. Flavor you can see. Shapes.
New Shapes Chicken Palmy.
Make a day with the footy finals. For every NRL finals game, place a same-game multi with 3 or more legs, and if one leg fails, get a bonus bet back up to $50. Tab. Long may we play.
Gamble responsibly.
Cookie people, cream people, crumbs people, clean people, twist people, lick people, dunk people, munch people. It's on the play, people. If you twist, lick, dunk, then you're my people. We are Oreo people.
There's an unspoken promise to care for your pet. At Pet Barn, we'll help you keep it every day with 60-minute click and collect and an instant price match promise. Visit Pet Barn today.
When you don't want to leave your car, choose Domino's new car park delivery for no extra charge. Try it today and get 50% off premium or traditional pizzas. Bring it in.
By making strong decisions on the border and having an economic post-COVID plan, the Palaszczuk Labor government has protected Queensland lives and put Queensland on the road to economic recovery. By helping small business, investing in Queensland manufacturing industry, introducing stronger buy local policies, and bringing forward infrastructure projects throughout Queensland. The last thing Queensland can afford right now is a detour Deb.
Authorised J Campbell, Australian Labor Party, State of Queensland, Brisbane.
I'm Ellie and I'm the Bachelorette.
And I'm Becky and I'm also the Bachelorette.
These sisters are looking for love. 7:30 tonight. Eddie Van Halen, legendary guitarist and co-founder of Van Halen, has died after a battle with throat cancer. Van Halen was the main songwriter on their debut album in 1978, but the band really hit the top with the release of their most successful song, Jump, with Van Halen playing the iconic opening on the synthesizer. He was just as well known for being the guitarist who played the solo on Michael Jackson's Beat It. Eddie Van Halen was just 65. He was a legend of the game, so it is only fitting that Dean Jones was today farewelled at the home of cricket. COVID restrictions limited numbers to less than a dozen of his closest family. But there was no denying him one final lap on the ground that hosted some of his finest moments.
A rock star cricketer in the 80s and 90s, Dean Jones's final lap around the MCG couldn't have been any more fitting. With the tunes of Elton John and In Excess playing out at the empty Coliseum, the Australian cricketing great had one final moment on the ground where he was so revered. A hearse carrying Jones's handmade Indian coffin was adorned with the Australian flag, as well as a floral arrangement to showcase the batting star's test cap number. Due to pandemic rules, the private memorial was restricted to 10 of his closest family, including wife Jane and daughters Phoebe and Augusta. At his peak, Jones was the best one-day batsman in the world.
Oh, he smashed that one.
And made his name in the famous Madras Tide Test in India in 1986.
It really was quite ridiculous when you look back, and it was so hot.
In soaring temperatures, he broke through for his maiden Test century, vomiting and on the verge of passing out, yet he pressed on to 210, still the highest score by an Australian in India. Jones died nearly a fortnight ago from a suspected heart attack. He was 59. A public memorial will be held once restrictions are eased. Catherine Firkin for 10 News First.
Ros Kelly is back now with a look at more news in sport. And Ros, the Panthers, well, they've lost one of their hard men at the business end of the season.
Sandra, if Penrith is to book a spot in this year's grand final, they'll have to do it without Viliami Kikau. The star-back rower has been rubbed out of next week's preliminary final after a failed meeting with the NRL judiciary.
Not even the best lawyer could get him off. Viliami Kikau gets 1 week for this tackle. He'll be back for the grand final if the Panthers make it.
Well, I'm obviously disappointed about the outcome. I respect the decision of the NRL judiciary. Now I'm just going to turn my focus on helping the boys out at training to get ready for that preliminary final.
They'll face either the Eels or Souths, who do battle on Saturday night. The two sides met only a month ago. The Bunnies smashed them 38-0.
It probably puts them in a better mindset. They'll come out firing, ready to go. They'll be a totally different side.
The key to South's form is Cody Walker. There's no doubt about that. In recent weeks, experts labelled him a 10 out of 10.
I'm pretty confident with how I'm playing, but again, now's not a time to reflect on my own performance or the team's. Now's the time to work out where we need to get better and put all my energy and focus into this weekend's game.
And if the Bulldogs season wasn't bad enough, the drama continues off the field. Chairman Lynn Anderson has resigned along with 2 directors. 116 members signed a petition to get rid of them. It continues a toxic few years at board level for the so-called family club. Emma Lawrence for 10 News First.
Dave Rennie has only been Wallabies coach a matter of months, and he's already popular with the players. Ahead of the first Bledisloe Cup match, the squads say they're more united than ever.
We're such a multicultural group. Maybe in the past we haven't really understood one another as well as we should have. So, he's really worked hard on getting this group to bond and understand each other, and just make it a level playing field where everyone can speak up.
Rennie will name his first Wallabies team on Friday ahead of Sunday afternoon's game. And of course, it's all live and free right here on 10. The Australian women's team has pulled off their 21st straight ODI win this afternoon, matching the Aussie men's record that stood for 17 years. Captain Meg Lanning was a laid out with a hamstring injury. The Aussies still posting a mammoth 325.
Can she get it over the rope? Yes, she can. The perfect finish.
New Zealand's run chase never got going, all out for 93 as the Aussies won by 232 runs. But they won't have a chance to claim the record outright until at least 2021. South Stradbroke Island turned it on for finals day of the Boost Mobile Pro, and Mikey Wright put on a show. The decider was effectively over after his first 2 waves, scoring 15.83 out of a possible 20.
Not much to say, really. Just went out and, got another barrel, as you said before. Made sure every heat. But, it was fun.
It was a blowout in the women's final as well. Coolum surfer Isabella Nichols dominating Sophie McCulloch. The tour now heads off to WA's Margaret River. Time for our play of the day, or in this case, our play of the daily. Long John Daly leaving the putter in the bag at a charity golf tournament in the US.
Oh my goodness. John Daly just made a hole-in-one and I got it on video.
Incredibly, it was Daly's 11th hole-in-one. As casual as you like. At 54, he's still got it, Sandra.
Oh my goodness, only 11. Just one, please. Josh is back after the break with a final check on the weather, and of course that includes the forecast for both the Gold and Sunshine Coasts. Stay with us.
We're sisters and we're both here to find love.
There you go, that is different. That's a spanner in the works.
These sisters are looking for love. 7:30 tonight.
You can't see the generous dash of Queen Vanilla in your Just Because cupcakes or your best ever birthday cake. But they can taste it. A little Queen does wonders.
I know what you're thinking. Electric. It's not for you. You're probably right. Electric just doesn't have enough range. Everyone knows water and electricity don't mix. No more hanging out here either. Electric just can't keep up. So maybe an electric car isn't for you. Or is it?
First they sued Hungry Jack's, now they want to ban our ad telling you the Big Jack has 25% more Aussie beef than theirs. But we know when you tell an Aussie it's big, it better be big. The Big Jack and the Mega Jack, only at Hungry Jack's.
What on earth is all this yuck? Choose a dishwashing liquid made with plants, not petrochemicals. Make an earth choice.
Collect your story of memorable firsts at Pandora.
It's our big 14th birthday bash, and everyday Aussies are getting our greatest deals yet. Like Simon's Towel, Stevie's Kicks, Ned's Telly, and Mick's Joggers. For big 14th birthday bargains, everyday Aussies, check out Catch.
New Pepsi Max Mango. Max taste, no sugar.
Feel the clarity of non-drowsy Claritine for fast, powerful 24-hour hay fever and allergy relief from sneezing, runny nose, itchy eyes and skin. Because stuffed animals are clearly no substitute for real ones. Feel the clarity and live Claritine clear.
The Karcher Window Vac. Simply spray, wipe and vacuum. The quick way to streak-free windows. Special black edition available at Bunnings Warehouse.
Oh, I just went and got some milk.
Hey, wait a sec. Let's try new white choc flavour.
Just like a white choc milkshake, only crunchy.
The art of the charcuterie board. Mouth-watering salami, irresistible prosciutto, and there it is, a charcuterie board piled high with flavour.
Charcuterie?
Hans.
It's actually Hans.
Like your spring with a bit of ka-ching?
Wouldn't say no.
Oh, good answer. Because for all races at Caulfield and Randwick, finish second or third and get up to $50 back in bonus bets with Sportsbet.
Up next, how Instagram became a supermarket for illegal drugs. The new plan to charge people a fee to visit our most famous beach. That's just un-Australian. And we celebrate the life of one of the world's greatest guitarists, Eddie Van Halen. The project next.
Is it the calm before the storm? We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But we do have very stable and benign conditions across Queensland within the next 7 days, although starting to heat up as we get through the back end of this week. Or due to this trough of low pressure moving in an eastwards fashion, it is starting to weaken somewhat, but it will drive in those northwesterly winds and pushing the warm air down to southeast Queensland. And those temperatures are set to spike on Friday up into the mid-30s through places like Ipswich. Slight chance of a shower or even thunderstorms through the far western areas of Queensland tomorrow. tomorrow. Not expecting too much into the gauges, and due to some light onshore winds, there is a slight chance of a shower around parts of the central and northeast tropical coast. But generally fine conditions for Cairns and Townsville tomorrow, hitting tops of 29 degrees, 34 the top for Longreach and 30 degrees for Rockies, seeing a very nice day for Thursday, 27 for Bundaberg, partly cloudy skies, and we're looking at 30 degrees for Gympie. Into the southeast, partly cloudy for Toowoomba tomorrow, hitting 28 degrees, 27 the top for Logan and 28 for Caboolture. Again, Bayside suburbs and the Golden Sunshine Coast seeing the benefit from those afternoon sea breezes once again, with temperatures in the mid-20s. For Brisbane City, a top of 28 tomorrow. That is one above average for this time of year. Remaining partly cloudy and also dry, looking very dry across a large portion of Brisbane at the moment. I was driving around today, a lot of brown grass around. Unfortunately, no rainfall in sight. In fact, we're looking at partly cloudy conditions from Friday all the way through to Wednesday next week. 31 the top Friday, but hitting 34 degrees in Ipswich to end the working week. 32 and remaining warm Saturday, 31 on Sunday. Mostly sunny skies. For the Gold Coast, that's the place to be. 26 Thursday and 27 Friday. Partly cloudy across the weekend. And for the Sunshine Coast, no rainfall in sight. Just clear skies and sunshine this weekend. 26 Saturday. And Sandra looking nice on Sunday with a top of 25.
It sure does. Thanks, Josh. That is the news for now this Wednesday, October 7. Stay on 10. The team at the project are next. From the news team, though, thanks for your company. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same channel.